It's Friday, October 22. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. A cabinet subcommittee is to meet today, October 22, to discuss the resumption of face-to-face classes at schools. The Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Favour Williams, had said some schools would have resumed physical classes on a phased basis by mid-October.
We are giving priority to those students who would be fully vaccinated to return to face-to-face, and for those who are not, they would be accommodated in the online, the virtual world. Of course, as more of the Pfizer vaccines come on stream and they become vaccinated, then they would be in the face-to-face environment. In terms of our primary schools, I know our CEO has already been speaking, Chief Education Officer has already been speaking with our schools, looking at the capacity versus the capacity of our schools versus the enrollment and the space that's available, and arranging for schools where they have more students than the space would allow them to have, to be prepared for the rotation, to be prepared for some students to be online, some to be in the physical classrooms, to rotate so that all of our students get a chance to be in the face-to-face environment again at our primary school levels, at our basic schools, and in our early childhood sector. So it's a management of this whole process and making sure that we all remain as safe as possible. Again, I want to repeat, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, the COVID protocols are to be observed. In our primary schools, it's going to be crucial that we do that. Crucial as well in our high schools to continue to observe all the COVID-19 protocols.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Thursday told journalists that the Education Minister has made a submission to Cabinet on the reopening of public schools. He notes, however, that reopening schools depend on the current COVID-19 situation. Schools were shuttered 3 days after Jamaica confirmed its first case of COVID-19 in March 2020. The current COVID-19 restrictions are set to expire on October 28. There is a famous quote that says, "The science of today is the technology of tomorrow." This may prove prophetic for 4 secondary schools and 4 top students that were recently awarded scholarships from the Technology Solutions Limited, TSL. Scholarships were given to 4 secondary schools with a strong science program and 4 top students. A $100,000 scholarship was awarded to grade 10 students from Manchester High School, Arden High School, Herbert Morrison Technical High School, and Titchfield High School, and will be paid over a 2-year period. All of these schools are said to have a strong science program. The scholarship is part of TSL's community outreach program and falls within their 25th anniversary celebrations. Managing Director Andre Gordon spoke to the company's long-term goal of transforming and impacting lives through applied science.
You, the students here today, are our future. Along with the others that TSL will assist as we continue to roll out this program of active involvement in driving science into the culture of what it is we do in this country. In such a role, we will partner with organizations like the Ministry of Education, the Scientific Research Council, National Commission for Science and Technology, and our educational institutions who have already been doing a lot of this work, because it is very important that Jamaica stop talking about and giving lip service to science, making a difference, and making it happen.
Education Minister Favour Williams was also on hand.
The government of Jamaica also believes all young people should have access to science, technology, engineering, and math education as a matter of course. We are working to achieve this by making it easy for teachers and others involved in STEM education to access subject-specific professional development programs.
The presentations took place recently at the Courtly Hotel. Member of Parliament for St. Thomas Eastern, Dr. Michelle Charles, says the Erie Castle Port water system will be upgraded soon. She says the project is part of National Water Commission's move to bring improved access and distribution of water. She gave an update during her contribution to the State of the Constituency debate in the House of Representatives this week.
To date, we have been able to supply trucked water to areas such as Spring Garden, Dalvey, Cheswick, Leith Hall, Top Hill, Lyson, Rowlandsfield, Old Pier, and Wilmington. However, this is an unsustainable method of water supply. Madam Speaker, we will be upgrading the Erie Castle Portmorant water system as a part of the CBD Rural Water Supply Program. Detailed designs are scheduled to be completed by January 2022. The implementation will commence 12 months after funding is finalized by the Government of Jamaica in the amount of $500 million.
According to Dr. Charles, the program is being done through the Caribbean Development Bank Rural Water Supply Program. It aims to upgrade systems serving rural communities in the parishes of St. Thomas, St. Mary, Clarendon, St. Anne, St. Elizabeth, and Trelawney. It's often said that the small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs, are the lifeblood of any economy. Locally, SMEs are set to benefit from a myriad of perks being offered through the RevUp Caribbean, as the initiative had a virtual launch recently at the Jaguar Landover property on Arthurwind Drive in Kingston. RevUp Caribbean's Managing Director, Dr. Sandra Glasgow, gave a breakdown of the programs being offered through the initiative.
We want, through this program, the incubator program, which is for startups, which will include investment readiness, a training program, mentorship, and access to the angels. They'll be able to pitch to the angels. And then on the other side, NCB SME clients who will have a similar program but not include the investment readiness or the mentorship, but everything else will be the same.
Right.
And I also want to say that we have, we're going to be benefiting greatly from the support from McKinsey & Company, that global consulting company,
Right.
that is going to be delivering a weekend retreat on how to become a successful CEO. And everybody in the cohort will do that. And by the way, this is a 5-month program.
Right.
And at the end of the program, we expect that there will be people well prepared to pitch to the angels or to get additional financing from NCB.
RevUp Caribbean is an extension of First Angles Jamaica, and Joseph M. Matalon, CD, chairman of RevUp Caribbean and FAJ, highlighted that it's in its 7 years of existence and members have closed 19 deals in 12 companies with an overall investment of 400 million Jamaican dollars.
While a number of the companies that we have invested in over the last 7 years are doing very well, the fact is that generally speaking, we have found that our founders lack the broad range of business skills that would allow them to scale their businesses in keeping with the vision that they have for those businesses. And as a result of that, our response was, together with partners like the Development Bank of Jamaica, which has always been very supportive.
The program is specifically designed to assist entrepreneurs in building those capabilities to support them as they take their businesses to the next level. In today's extended business report with Gabriel Thompson, we continue to dissect the latest STATIN quarterly press briefing, plus get our regular market updates.
The Statistical Institute of Jamaica STATIN says Jamaica recorded an inflation rate of 2.3% for September 2021. STATIN's Director General Carol Coy says this was largely due to a 3% increase in food and non-alcoholic beverages, the heaviest weighted division in the Consumer Price Index, CPI. She was speaking Wednesday at the Institute's quarterly press brief.
The increase in the index for food and non-alcoholic beverages was due mainly to a 3.1% index for the group food. And here you have the class vegetable, tubers, plantains, cooking bananas and pulses increasing by 9.9%. This increase resulted from higher prices for some agricultural produce such as tomato, cabbage, carrot and sweet pepper.
There were other notable increases recorded for the categories of fruits and nuts, which saw a 4.3% increase.
Meat and other slaughtered animals, which went up by 0.9%, fish and seafoods increasing by 0.9%, oils and fats also.
In foreign exchange trading for Thursday, October 21, the US dollar sold for an average $153.95. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $126.98. The pound sterling traded for $212.46, and the euro sold for an average $174.40. In Thursday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 808 points to close at over 406,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 90 stocks, of which 37 advanced, 36 declined, and 17 traded firm. The junior market index advanced by 6 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and Caribbean Cement Company Limited. Stocks declined for Barita Investments Limited, Berger Paints Jamaica Limited, and Cargo Handlers Limited. Trading firm were Blue Power Group Limited, CAC 2000 9.5% preference shares, and CAC 2000 Limited. Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares was the volume leader with over 4.7 million units, followed by Siboney Group Limited with over 1.7 million units, and Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with over 700,000 units. In market data for oil, prices fell on Friday, with Brent on track for its first weekly dip in 7 weeks as demand for oil products in power generation cooled off amid easing coal and gas prices, while a forecast for a mild U.S. winter also weighed on the market. Brent crude futures dropped 48 cents to $84.13 a barrel, extending a $1.21 slump in the previous session. Brent touched a 3-year high of $86.10 on Thursday, but was on track to slip 0.8% in the week, the first weekly dip since September 3. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell 37 cents to $82.13 a barrel, following a 92-cent loss on Thursday. And on that note, we close this extended edition of the Business Report Inside the News on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Pleasant viewing.
Here are some of the stories being tracked in the region. In Trinidad and Tobago, opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar described Thursday's events in Parliament and among the Electoral College as a dark day for the democracy of Trinidad and Tobago. In a media conference following the sitting, Mrs. Persad-Bissessar said the opposition will continue to defend the Constitution and the democracy of the people of this country. More in this report by Anna Carter.
When it is that the highest officers in the land act in concert and conspiracy, some would say, in this manner, then we are fracturing our constitution and endangering our very fragile young democracy.
Mrs. Persad-Bissessar criticized the way in which today's events occurred in the Parliament, but noted that her side felt it was necessary in order to uncover the truth.
I have been in Parliament for over 27 years now, and I have never seen it fit to bring such emotion of what people call impeachment of the president. I have never done it before. We have not done it. And it brings me no joy, and I want to make this point, This is not about woman to woman, because they're somewhat trying to make it out as an issue as women versus women. This is an issue of high constitutional importance about the officers of the highest officers in the land.
The opposition leader also hinted at another motion to be filed in the Parliament, this time against the Prime Minister. But Mrs. Pbcj did not give details on what that motion would entail.
The opposition will stand and remain in defense of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, in defense of their rights. We will continue to call for transparency and accountability. And today, in October, we announce the beginning of an October revolution in Trinidad and Tobago to defend the rights of citizens and the democracy of Trinidad and Tobago.
Mrs. Pbcj assured that the opposition will do all within its power to ensure that persons are held accountable and justice is served. Ayana Carter for TTT News.
Imam Yasin Abu Bakr, the man who led an attempt to overthrow the Trinidad and Tobago government in 1990, has died. The Trinidad Express newspaper says it learned that Abu Bakr, who had celebrated his 80th birthday on October 19, fell ill at home and was taken to hospital where he died. The newspaper says doctors tried to resuscitate him in vain, adding that the cause of death had not yet been disclosed. Abu Bakr gained worldwide attention when he and 100 armed members of his Jamaat al-Muslimin group stormed the Trinidad and Tobago Parliament, taking the Prime Minister hostage and declaring to overthrow the government. It was the only Islamist coup ever attempted in the Western Hemisphere. He surrendered 6 days later after being offered amnesty and spent 2 years in jail. In September this year, he issued a warning to the government and all arms of state to stop oppressing citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Are education officials in St. Lucia ready for the phased reopening of face-to-face classes at school next Monday? Stakeholders expressed confidence and optimism with the introduction of a number of measures to bolster the safety of faculty and the student population.
I'm very excited that our students, well, not all, but some of the critical years, are venturing back into the classroom on Monday.
A fight back against the onslaught of COVID-19 cases has yielded a measure of respite for health and education officials, who are now looking to a Monday, 25th October, phased reopening of in-person school classes. But is the education sector ready? The question was posed to Minister for Education, Sean Edward.
The situation is not ideal in terms of readiness, but I think we are in a position where we can accommodate our kindergarteners and grade 6 students in the primary school system. At the secondary level, we have asked for our 4th formers and 5th formers to return. As you do for them, it's very critical that they get all the classes they need, all the instruction in preparation for CSEC exams.
An understandably circumspect Minister for Education is also bemoaning the downside and the academic consequences of a continued prolonged absence of students from physical classes.
We have situations where children are finding themselves in situations that they ought not to be in. They are falling prey to a lot of society's ills. So as many of them as possible as we can get into school, the better it will be for us.
President of the St. Lucia Principals Association, Valerie St. Helen Henry, expressed satisfaction with the level of preparations by the education officials for the return of face-to-face instruction for key grade levels.
I think by tomorrow, all schools should be ready to welcome the grade 6, grade Ks, Form 4s and Form 5s. Whatever that needs to be done, the last minute preparation, it should be done even on the weekend in preparation for Monday.
St. Helen addressed criticism from observers who questioned the resumption of face-to-face instruction with less than 2 more months left in the academic term.
Those persons who think that we are not the persons on the ground involved in the instructions of the students, because we do believe in every child, not leaving making sure every child is accounted for, making sure every child gets an instruction, the instruction that they require. And I think that having them to return to school is to bring synergy, to look at the capabilities in terms of the different instructions. And I think that there's never a day is enough. A day is, having them together on a day is, you can do so much. And there's also the time of assessment, where at the end of the term we had continuous assessment. So it will be a period to more or less bring all of that together so that we can communicate to the parents information that is a true reflection of the students' capabilities.
The education sector has been one of the hardest hit by the pandemic, and officials are looking to make small strides with the all-important phased return of students to the physical plant. The preparation process has also involved COVID-19 management systems and protocols to ensure that learning centers are equipped to respond to a number of threat scenarios surrounding the deadly virus. Solange Alford, HTS News Force.
In Grenada, the Minister for Tourism, who is an executive member of the Grenada Tourism Authority, says the mandatory vaccination requirement posed on vendors of a local spice market simply follows the rules and regulations put in place to deal with the global COVID-19 pandemic. More details in this report.
Chairman of the Grenada Tourism Authority, Barry Collimo, in his response to the recent industrial action taken by vendors of the Grandance Spice Market, says that they are only abiding by the regulations stipulated by government and not forcing anyone to get vaccinated. Some vendors took to the streets on Monday after they were not allowed to operate unless they are fully vaccinated. They claimed that no consultations were held with them to address the issue prior to the no vac, no entry policy. Collimo denied this, saying that several consultations were held to educate the business owners on vaccination and the role it plays in the tourism sector. He said another consultation was held today, Wednesday, to continue to update them on the matter.
Within the emergency powers regulations, all persons selling food have to be vaccinated. Like every other establishment, we had to inform them, and we did inform them via memo. We invited them to a meeting to discuss it. And we met with some of them today, and we had a lengthy discussion with the minister, the manager of the craft market, the head of product development, the former minister, Mrs. Hood, and myself. So we had a productive discussion.
The chairman also stated that tourists visiting the island must be vaccinated, and the same is required for all operators of tourism sites in Grenada, as mandated by airlines and the cruise line owner.
That the visitors who they are serving are all vaccinated. The cruise ship passengers will all be vaccinated. And therefore, the companies like for instance, we got a memo today from one of our major airlines who also run a tour operating company, and they're saying that they're saying that they will only be booking fully vaccinated tours and sites.
Minister for Tourism Clarice Medes-Kerwin, in speaking to GBN via telephone on the matter, indicated that the craft center has not been operating fully for over 2 years due to COVID-19. She said she wants the markets to be certified so that the vendors can return to work, but the reality is that sites will not be certified unless persons are vaccinated to protect the lives of visitors and the service providers.
So we are not in a position, we cannot mandate to say to people that you must get vaccinated. However, if they have to interact and interface with the same people that have been mandated or directed that if they want to come into the country, they have to be vaccinated, then I think it's only fair that these people who serve the people who are coming in would have to be vaccinated. So government has not taken a position to mandate vaccine, and therefore we are not in a position to mandate. We can just provide guidance and we can certify based on the request and the requirements.
Both Minister Cohen and the chairman hopes that the vendors do what is necessary to get their business and the economy moving forward. For GBN News, I am Rena Thomas reporting.
In sports, we look to cricket. West Indies suffered a huge defeat in their second warm-up game ahead of their title defense of the World T20, losing to Afghanistan on Tuesday in Dubai. We get the details in this report from Newsroom Guyana.
Allen has been withdrawn from the squad due to an ankle injury and has been replaced in the 15 by Akil Hussain following approval from the event's technical committee. In turn, Hussain will be replaced on West Indies' reserve list by Motie. Sitting 16th on the ICC T20 bowling rankings and 17th for all-rounders, Allen's presence will be missed by West Indies. Alongside a T20 bowling average of 27.05 and economy rate of 7.21, he also has a batting strike rate of 138, an average of 17.85, while he's a world-class fielder. Motie's call-up means he now joins Darren Bravo, Sheldon Cottrell and Jason Holder on the reserves list. Motie was the leading wicket-taker in the regional Super 50, claiming 17 wickets in 7 matches at an economy rate of 4.56. He had a best bowling figure of 4 for 45 with a stellar average of 16.64. In CPL 2021, Motie played 6 matches and impressed with 8 wickets at a brilliant economy rate of 6.52. He also had a best bowling figure of 3 for 25 in his debut season at a top average of 15.5. After losing their warm-up games to Pakistan and Afghanistan, West Indies face England in their first match of the World Cup proper on Saturday from 10 hours in Dubai.
And that's our package. You've just watched the news on PBCJ, the People's Station.